So I got this article here that's on Red Lake Nation News. Big brands distance themselves from Pride events amid DEI rollback. But it's a very short article because it's on the Washington Post here. Problem is to read the Washington Post, they charge you, and I'm not going to pay them. How dare I? But I think I can read this article here. Seems to be the same thing. So, as you can see, it's pulled from the Washington Post, but it's all here apparently. Let's take a look at this article and see what it has to say, because if this is true, big brands are distancing themselves from Pride events, well, then we're winning. We're never going to fully win, though. We're never going to, because women are the dominant voting bloc. And there's always going to be the woke as long as there are women who are voting the woke into power, who are always going to be demanding that they deserve to have more than they deserve to have. So let's get into this article, see what it has to say. Marty Zuniga, who helps organize Pride Fest in St. Louis, one of the Midwest's biggest LGBT alphabet people celebrations, could tell by January that this season would be unlike any he's seen. I wonder what happened in January. What was going on in January of this year? Oh, yeah, that's right. We got a new president who says everything woke turns to crap.
It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay?
That's what Zuniga noticed, that corporate contacts weren't answering his emails. In the weeks that followed, longtime partners like Anheuser-Busch declined to sponsor this year's two-day festival, while others slashed donations, leaving him with a massive gap in his budget. Meanwhile, he told the Washington Post several companies willing to commit financially also asked him to keep their names out of it. Interesting. Their rationale was consistent. Zuniga said, "We still want to support you, but we can't scream it from the rafters." Oh, so you're going underground. Now, before I started reading this, I thought it was going to be a psyop, right? They were just pretending to pull back so that they could get business flowing, and then do what they always do in June, which is coming up here, pretty quick, right? But maybe not. Maybe if this has been going on for a while now, maybe these people that are pulling out are legitimately pulling out. Before we continue, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. I do thank everybody for stopping by and watching my videos, supporting my work. You can find me over on Rumble and Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter. And I had somebody tell me, well, I don't know who to follow on Twitter. It's just go on Twitter. You'll figure out who you want to follow real quick. Amid the Trump administration's targeting of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, companies are distancing themselves from Pride, a celebration of queer identity that began in the 1970s following the Stonewall Uprising and now spans scores of cities across the globe. Intent on staying out of the government's crosshairs, many big brands are backing away from the HGTV people celebrations of all sizes as part of a broader rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, leaving organizers from coast to coast, including for marquee events in San Francisco, New York, and the Midwest, with budget shortfalls at a time when most are anticipating higher turnout, as well as facing heightened safety and logistical challenges. You see, the thing with Pride is, the thing with doing all this is it's gone too far. People are sick and tired of it, because we're being told constantly these people are oppressed. And there was a time, yes. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. The 80s was not that long ago. And I'm sure there was some of it happening in the 90s, when these people were being beaten, when they were being assaulted. Even attempts were made on their lives, and sometimes their lives were ended. But now you guys have everything, and you won't shut up about how you need more. You have everything now. We've given you everything. We said, okay, fine, you win. Have it all. And, oh, it's not enough. It's never enough. That's the same thing with women here. We got the feminists going out, and it's not enough. It's never enough. It's never enough. No matter how much we give you, it's never enough. Will you just stop already? You have everything. Pride organizers say they are worried the administration's antipathy toward transgender people and drag performers could make their events a magnet for hate against the broader HDTV community. Such crimes were already on the rise before President Donald Trump returned to office in January. FBI data shows with 1 in 5 hate crimes motivated by anti-LGBTQ bias. Interesting. I didn't know this. I wonder what they're defining as hate crimes. That's the only thing you could say here, is like, if is it just like graffiti or something like that? I don't know how they're determining that. And are hate crimes on the rise in general? I don't think they are. I think they're still dropping. I don't have those stats. Not only are we losing sponsorship dollars, we're having to spend way more on security, said Zuniga, president of the nonprofit Pride St. Louis. This year's Pride Fest will be encircled by 6-foot fencing, and Zuniga rented a nearby parking garage simply so he could shut it down. He said he wanted to ensure it could not be used as a vantage from which to inflict violence on festival goers. It's very scary times. The Pride pullbacks come as companies reassess the extent to which they want to weigh in on social issues, said Luke Hartig, who counsels Fortune 500 companies and other large employers as president of Gravity Research, with many opting to focus on matters strictly related to their business amid intensifying legal and political scrutiny on DEI programs. Firms are concerned about attracting government scrutiny and attention from conservative activists such as Robbie Starbuck, whose online campaigns have pressured brands such as Boeing, Caterpillar, Toyota, Molson, Coors, and Tractor Supply to revise their DEI policies. Yeah, well, the DEI policies at these companies, we've seen them. We've seen the viral videos going out. Oh, yeah, make sure you're anti-white. Make sure you only hire people who aren't white. Make sure you don't hire white men. Make sure you don't hire men. All these different things which are illegal and immoral. On top of which, why am I the bad guy here? Oh, wait, I've had my time in the sun, right? Now everybody else has to have their time in the sun, and I need to step back. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not a zero-sum game, and you're dealing with a country that is mostly white. So if we just only hire non-whites, there's going to be a lot of companies going out of business because they can't find employees. Let's not be stupid about this. But, of course, they got to be stupid.
Stupid.
Pride has become a particular point of anxiety in the past couple of years, Harding said, as executives took notice of how some brands' efforts to embrace the LGBTQ HDTV people backfired. Yeah, because people are, like I said, we've already given you everything. Why do we need to continue to focus on you being a group of people in the world? And how do you parse that out? Oh, all the people who aren't straight, basically, that's what it comes down to. Okay, well, that's not a very big group of people, and we've already given you everything. So what else do you want? You have to keep throwing yourself in my face, shoving stuff down my throat. Not to mention the debauchery we've seen come out of this group of people here. Not to mention the fact that they are socially engineering these things so that more and more children are transitioning, for example, or going gay and then regretting it.
We're coming for your children.
Not so much with the going gay thing, although that does happen, but definitely with the transitioning thing, which is a real danger. I mean, you can come back from practicing homosexuality, you can come back from that and be all right. But if you cut off parts of your body, we can't fix that. We don't have that technology yet. Someday in the distant future, 100 years from now, 250 years from now, something, we'll probably be able to give you a shot and your whole body will turn into the opposite gender. And then we'll be able to give you a shot and your whole body will go back or something. But that's not today. There was Bud Light's short-lived partnership with trans comedian and influencer Dylan Mulvaney in 2023, which was met with vitriol from some conservative consumers who dumped cans of Bud Light and called for a boycott of parent company Anheuser-Busch, a longtime partner of GLAAD and the LGBTHD advocacy group. The brand's response, which didn't directly address the hate directed at Mulvaney, agreed the LGBTHD TV people, many of whom joined the boycott. Well, I've never drank, so I was not part of this. But as soon as your spokesperson, the person who you want to say be the face of your company, is going to be somebody that I disagree with on a fundamental level and who's targeting kids, yeah, I'm probably going to avoid your company. It's kind of how it is. It says no Bud Light. Look out. Okay, don't know what that's all about. Looks like somebody's really trashy trailer. Anheuser-Busch did not respond to a request for comment. Target also faced blowback in 2023 over some merchandise in its Pride line, which intensified after the retailer pulled some items from stores. People claiming to be angry about the removal of merchandise targeted stores in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Utah with bomb threats. A couple of high-profile incidents can have a chilling effect more broadly, Harding said. Companies are looking at a couple brands that have really suffered online activism and saying, hey, this could happen to us. Yeah, well, don't focus on kids when you're doing this stuff. There's going to be a lot of angry mothers out there. There's going to be a lot of angry people in general. You're going to be like, you're coming after my kids. You're telling them that they're wrong, that they're in the wrong body. And I don't believe that. And even if I'm willing to accept that you feel that way, I don't want you forcing this on my children. That's just how it is. And as far as bomb threats are concerned, that's terrorism. Don't do that. You're going to go to prison for a felony. I knew a guy who did that. I went to school with this guy. I was friends with him for a while in grade school and junior high school a little bit. We kind of grew apart in junior high school and high school. And then he went to a different school for high school, actually. But one day he decided to call the high school and said, hey, there's a bomb in the building. And the FBI showed up at his house. And he went to prison while he was still in high school for a felony. Yeah, so you don't want that. Now, against the backdrop of Trump's war on DEI, fear of potential backlash is even more heightened, Harding added. If companies are participating, they're not touting environment publicly, as they have in the past, he added. Many have given more leeway to their LGBT HDTV employee resource groups to represent them at Pride in the view that it's less controversial than the broader brand signaling support. Amid the corporate pullbacks, Eve Keller, co-president of the U.S. Association of Prides, said festivals of all sizes are reckoning with sudden drop in financial support. Keller, who is on the board of Indie Pride, noted that most local prides do much more than put on a festival. Most host dozens of events from May through Pride Month in June, while others hold celebrations throughout the year, each one another location, another security risk. There is actually U.S. Association of Prides. That's how common this is. Wow, that's ridiculous that we have an entire association devoted to this garbage. And there might be some of you out there saying, well, they deserve to have, their events too. It's fine, Okay, I just think that it's foolish. I mean, we don't have straight events. Oh, every day's a straight event, right? Well, here you go. When I was making videos about The Last of Us Season 1, which I've not seen a single bit of The Last of Us Season 2, other than the fact that Ellie's going to be a dad, apparently. Yay.
I'm gonna be a dad. Yeah.
Somebody came to me when I was calling out, like, this is sudden, this is like out of nowhere, this person is homosexual or whatever. So I made some comment like that, and people were commenting saying, well, how come it's not surprised heterosexuality when you see a heterosexual person? Yeah, and this is exactly the point I'm making here. Why is there a pride association but no straight association? Because there's no need for a straight association. There's no need for a pride association if you're going to be going, oh, how come it's not surprised heterosexuality? Make up your mind. You can't have it both ways. I know there's some Pride members removing their board members' names and faces from their websites, Keller told the Post. It's a totally different atmosphere now. Keller acknowledged that economic uncertainty must be making it hard for companies to manage their budgets. Many Pride events have lowered the sponsorship threshold to as little as $500 to help fill the gaps, she said. But there are other low-profile ways for companies to signal their support, such as sending their employees to help work as parade marshals. We're having these conversations with people that are passionate about staying involved but are waiting for approval from corporate, she said. Corporate involvement in Pride began in 2015 when the Supreme Court ruled that same-sex marriage is protected by the Constitution. Before long, Zuniga said, advertisers were eager to sponsor LGBT HDTV celebrations for a chance to attach their names and logos to the revelry, as well as reach a community that represents roughly 1 in 10 Americans and commands $1.4 trillion in annual spending power, according to analysis from Merrill Lynch. Yeah, I like to throw that 1 in 10 number around, and it's not 1 in 10. Corporate sponsorship has become somewhat controversial in recent years, as some have criticized companies for offering performative, short-lived support for the LGBTQ+ community, according to Bob Wittek, president of Wittek Communications and an expert on LGBTQ marketing. I wonder how that marketing trend goes. Oh, that's right. Just make it pastels. That's what we got to do. Just make everything the same. Just make it pastels, unless they're trans. Then, make it tuck friendly. This year is shaping up to be a sort of test for large businesses, he said, with some firms backing away from efforts associated with DEI in a bid to stay out of government crosshairs. Okay. The whole notion here, the whole idea here, the whole thing here that you're supposed to be saying is, hey, everybody's human. We're all equal. Doesn't matter who I love. It doesn't matter what I do in the privacy of my own home as long as I'm not hurting anyone. Doesn't matter if I want to change my gender. I'm still a human being. I deserve equality. I deserve fair treatment. I don't deserve special treatment. And here you are demanding to have special treatment with these pride events. The Constitution is being used to back up this behavior when they made HDTV marriage legal. I'm not saying that it should be illegal, but I'm just saying that they're pointing this out right here. They're saying, look, the Constitution is part of this. Hey. And so they're going to back it with the Constitution that we deserve to be treated special. We deserve to be treated different. And that's the thing that's always been said. It's like, hey, that we don't want to be treated different. How come you treat us different? With every group. So how come you're treating us different? Because you act different. Act like a normal status quo human being and you won't have these problems. No, you can't. You have to act like a fool all the time. All right. In January, when Trump signed a flurry of executive orders to end DEI programs in the federal government, he also directed agencies to draw up lists of public companies to investigate over the DEI policies, a move that legal experts said was meant to create a chill in the private sector. Weeks later, the Federal Communications Commissioner notified Comcast that its DEI practices were under investigation, as they all should be. We don't need this. It's diversity, equity, inclusion. No, that's illegal, and illegal. You're supposed to hire on merit. There's no such thing as diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just merit. Are you good enough to do the job? Okay, we'll hire you then. Who's the best person for the job? They get the job. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter who you sleep with. That was the whole point. Companies, especially those that do business with the federal government, are in an environment where they never know if day to day they'll be targeted. Wittig said, though he understands businesses need to be cautious, he worries about the sort of public surrender some brands have made in changing course. Every company today is aligning their policies or language so they don't find themselves in a risky place, Wittig said. But there's vulnerability in a surrender that suggests you're waffling on your values. Again, we have to change. We have to focus on this thing. It has to be a thing. It's a moral quandary. No, you're people. We're supposed to say, look, everybody's people. That's it. You're people. We're not supposed to focus on these superficial qualities. That was the whole point of freedom. We don't focus on the superficial qualities. We focus on your ability to function in society. No, we got to focus on these superficial qualities now. This is in Canada, so I'm assuming since they have Canadian flags here, Canadian pride flags. Anyway, some of the nation's biggest pride celebrations, which rely on corporate partnerships to deliver massive multi-day experiences that will draw hundreds of thousands of people, are particularly vulnerable in this climate. Capital Pride Alliance, which is hosting a World Pride in the district in May and June, told the Post that some longtime sponsors aren't participating this year, while others are graciously providing sponsorship dollars but are acting as silent partners without recognition. Other sponsors are providing funds and receiving recognition, but not participating at the parade and festival. Comcast, Booz Allen Hamilton, and MasterCard were among the big brands that backed away from this year's celebration, CPA confirmed. Everybody should be backing away. If you want to have a pride event, then it's your own pride event. You're not getting sponsorship from these big companies. So simple. These big companies are not supposed to be focused on one group over another. That's not DEI. That is focused on one group over another. It would be the same thing if these companies were out here sponsoring white events, if they were sponsoring KKK. You can't do that. Not morally anyway. If you want to live in a neutral country, you can't do that morally. Suzanne Ford, executive director of San Francisco Pride, said corporate partners usually make up about 2/3 of her more than $3 million budget, but she's short roughly $400,000 this year amid low corporate contributions, with Anheuser-Busch, Comcast, and Nissan among the brands that backed out. Anheuser-Busch and Comcast did not respond to requests for comment. People don't realize that these large prides are so fragile, Ford said. Though there has been an uptick in personal donations and some sponsors like Levi's have returned after years away, it's not enough to offset the losses, she said. Okay, well, how come they put this sentence in here? Anheuser-Busch and Comcast did not respond for comment, but then don't give us what Nissan said. That's ridiculous. They just cut right to her thoughts. In a state, okay, here we go. I'm sorry, maybe I jumped the gun. In a statement, Nissan said it is currently reviewing all marketing and sales spending, including auto show sports, properties, and other entertainment activities, and that the company remains committed to promoting an inclusive culture for employees, consumers, dealers, and other key stakeholders. Yeah, you do that by not focusing on any of this stuff. Like I just said, companies have not explicitly mentioned these political tensions in conversations with Ford, casting their decisions as economically motivated. They're framing it as a budgetary limitation, and I do understand there's some truth in that, she said, but budgeting is about values. No, it's not. I mean, all it follows is get the money, right? How are we going to make money? How are we going to make money off of this? Kevin Kirkbride, media and marketing manager in NYC Pride, said that about a third of its corporate partners have pulled back or have yet to confirm partnership this year, leaving the festival with roughly $350,000 shortfall in its more than $3 million budget. Many partners have cited economic considerations amid uncertainty around the impact of tariffs. Kilbride said others have expressed concern about potential blowback from the current administration for publicly supporting Pride and other DEI initiatives. For some prides, community partnerships are backfilling some corporate losses. This year, after Zuniga spoke out about Anheuser-Busch pulling its sponsorship of Pride Fest in St. Louis, its hometown, the community rallied and raised enough to make up for the nearly $150,000 in lost corporate dollars. This year, there is not one naming a right partner, Zuniga said. The community has railed so much that I've raised enough money where I don't need that level of corporate support. Smaller festivals on shoestring budgets also feel the pain. In suburban and rural communities outside Indianapolis, Hendricks County Pride will charge vendors for the first time after the festival's sole corporate partnership slashed its contribution from $2,500, usually the bulk of its budgets, to $400 this year. Board member Angie Eagler said in an interview, but Eagler has been heartened by support from small businesses, including the local HVAC outfit and a brewery crafting and private label beer just for the celebration, which she expects will draw as many as 3,000 attendees. Mindful of the political climate and her own fears, she's gotten death threats in the past. Eagler said she and other organizers are pressing forward because Pride this year is more important than it has been in decades. It's more important than it has been in decades, yeah, because you guys don't want to see people treated fairly. You just want to see the HGTV community get special treatment. So, well, it's a good sign. Hopefully this continues and we get this garbage out of the country, out of human civilization in general, because we don't need to be focusing on one specific group over another. If you want to focus on a group, fine, focus on all the groups. Focus on all the groups. Oh, hey, we can't do that because there's just too many of them. So then don't focus on any. It's that simple. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video.